Rational equations are equations that are written as fractions. And the way that we deal with them is we always find a common denominator. I'm going to write this one out pretty lengthy so that you can see all the parts to it. The -4 is a denominator of 1. Suppose it looked like this. X over 7 minus x over 5 is equal to 4 over 1. Do you know what the common denominator would be in this situation? What would the common denominator be in this situation? The common denominator would be 35. Now, instead of the 7 and the 5, I have a 2x plus 1 and a 2x minus 1. Do you know what the common denominator is now? Two x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. Now, what would I have to multiply the top and bottom by to make sure that it has this as a common denominator? It's missing the 2x minus 1. So watch what I'll do. Again, I'm going to take my time on this first one to make sure everybody sees it. And I'm going to multiply that by the 7 over 2x plus 1. We're okay with the first step? Minus 8x over 2x minus 1. What would I have to multiply the top and bottom of this by? A 2x plus 1. Now this one just has a 1 in the denominator. What would I have to multiply it by? 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. Please look at the three denominators. Are those all the same? Here's the idea. If the denominators are the same, we can just focus on the numerators. Are we okay with that? If the denominators are the same, focus on the numerators. For example, suppose x over 4 was equal to 3 over 4. What is x? 3. I mean, if the denominators are the same, you could just focus on the numerators, right? So we will do that. 7 times 2x minus 1. How do I do that? 14x minus 7. Minus, what is negative 8x times 2x? 16x squared. What is negative 8x times positive 1? Negative 8x. And now I have to multiply this out right here. I'm distributing the negative sign all the way through to each one. Okay. And now we will multiply this out and then multiply it by a -4. What's 2x times 2x? 4x squared. 2x times -1. Negative 2x. 2x times positive 1. Positive 2x. And then 1 times -1 is a -1. It's a lot of stuff, isn't it? Let's get rid of a bunch of it. How does that sound? What can we combine together here? What are like terms you can combine together? So it's negative 16x squared. And if I combine the x's, I have a plus 6x minus 7. Are we okay with that? Look at the second step. What can I combine here? And what happens? They go away. So let's distribute our negative 4. Negative 4 times 4x squared. Negative 16x squared. And negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. What degree is our equation? What's the degree of the equation? 2. So how many solutions would we expect? 2. And the way we solve the second degree equation, we gather everything on one side. So how do I move my negative 16x squared over here? I add. And what happens when I add the 16x squared over? Cancels. I'm left with 6x minus 7 is equal to 4. Now what? 6x equals 11. X is 11 over 6. Not too easy, huh? I would say if you were able to do that type of a problem, you're pretty good. That's a tough problem. Okay. Nothing easy about it. And that's the hardest type of problem you're going to see today. Okay. I want to show you a difficult one first. Let's try some of the easier ones now. Look at letter B. What's the common denominator for letter B? Everybody agree that that's the common denominator? Do you need to multiply this by anything to make the denominator x minus 4 times x minus 2? So this is good to go, isn't it? I will just write the numerator 2. Notice I'm not going to write the denominators now because we know that the denominators will be the same and we can just ignore them like we did in the last problem. 1 over x minus 4. What will you have to multiply that by? X minus 2 to create your common denominator. That's what it's missing. What is 1 times x minus 2? X minus 2. What is this missing to have a common denominator? X minus 4. So we will multiply top and bottom by x minus 4. Again, I said top and bottom. We haven't shown the bottoms because the bottoms will just go away. They're all the same now. Okay? And now I solve this equation. Let's distribute our 2. What would you like to do now? Add combine like terms. We have 2 equals the x and the 2x make 3x. My negative 2, my negative 8 make negative 10. Now what? Your final solution will be there is one problem with that. Does anybody see what the problem with the number 4 is? If you wanted to check your answer for an equation, what would you do to check your answer? How would you do it? You plug it back in. When you plug 4 back in, you plug it in for x. What is 4 minus 4? And what is 1 divided by 0? Undefined. If 0 is on top, it's equal to 0. But if 0 is on bottom, it's undefined. And so if you ever had this problem in my class and you listed x equals 4, I would give you full credit for it. But technically, you should say x equals 4 is what we call extraneous. Meaning, it doesn't work when you plug it back in. You get an undefined value in the problem, and that's an issue. So that's a technicality I wanted to show you. I promise you, I won't be giving you problems like that, but the point is that you would be able to come up with the x equals 4. That's the important part. Okay, and now we go into letter B. This is our last example. In order to find out the common denominator, sometimes we should rewrite the problem in a factored form. So you can see that x and x plus 3 are already factored, but the next denominator is not factored. How do I factor this denominator? What do I take out? An x, and I get x plus 3. So, somebody tell me, what is the common denominator in this problem? Hey, good news for us. This already has the x times the x plus 3 in it. This doesn't. What does it need? So I'll multiply the 6 by the x plus 3. What does this need? The x. What does this need? Nothing. Is that an equation we can now solve? I'm not going to say that this is simple, but it's a heck of a lot easier than looking at that, isn't it? And we did it by simply identifying the common denominator and multiplying through. So I distribute 6x plus 18 minus 2x is 3x plus 15. What can you combine over here? 6x and the negative 2x make 4x. Most people like to bring their variables over to the left side. I'll subtract the 3x. So the solution is negative 3. Is negative 3 a number you can plug back in? Or if you plug it in, do you end up with 0 in the denominator? Guess what? Negative 3 is okay there, but if you plug in negative 3 here, what do you end up with? 0. So therefore, x equals negative 3. That's fine if you write it down. Technically, it's extraneous. And that's it. I would say that the problems that we just did right now are more difficult than the problems in your assignment. We'll do number 7 together. Number 7 looks like it's a pretty bad problem. 1 over v plus 3v plus 12 over v squared minus 5v equals 7v minus 56 over v squared minus 5. 5v. So in order to come up with the common denominator, let's make sure that we factor everything. This factors to v times v minus 5. And this factors to v times v minus 5. Can you tell me what the common denominator is? Times v minus 5. Write it like that. What does this need in order to have a common denominator? V minus 5. So 1 times v minus 5 is v minus 5. Does this need anything to have the common denominator? No. So we can just write the 3v plus 12. Does this need anything to have the common denominator? No. So I have 7v minus 56. Combine our v's, we have 4v plus 7 plus 7v minus 56. Subtract my 7b, negative 3v plus 7 is equal to negative 56. Subtract the 7, negative 3v is equal to negative 63. What is my solution? 21. So once you identify that common denominator, looks like the problem really wasn't that bad, was it? Let's flip it over to the back side. Which one would you like me to do on the back side? Going once. 17. All right. 1 over x squared minus 5x equals x plus 7 over x minus 1. This is already factored. 1 over 1. This is factored to x. What can I do to factor that? So what's the common denominator? X times x minus 5. Does this already have the x times the x minus 5? So it's good to go. Just leave the numerator as 1. What does this need? It needs the x minus 5. So we'll take the x plus 7 and multiply it by x minus 5. What does the 1 need? It needs both of them, doesn't it? It needs the x times x minus 5. It needs both of them. Okay, the 1 is okay. What do I do here? How do I simplify this? X squared. Negative 5x and positive 7x make 2x. 7 negative 5 make negative 35. Now I'll distribute a negative x through. Negative x times x. Negative x squared and negative x times negative 5 plus 5x. What do you notice happens here? It's really nice. The x squareds cancel. They are gone. 2x and 5x make? Add your 35. Not a very nice number in that it's not an integer, but 37 over x, or 36 over 7 is their solution. Okay. So it's that same process each time. Same process each time. You have the rest of the hour of work, which is 20 minutes. I have the answer key ready to go. I'll post it on the board. You don't have an assignment tomorrow. You don't have an assignment on Monday. You have your homework cover sheet. So now is the time for you to take ownership of your work. Make sure it happens. Make sure you're ready to go. Conferences are already on Thursday. Wow. Okay. So be ready to go.